Welcome to Georgia Living Podcast. And it says Orja Living. You forgot the G.
It was copy and paste.
Okay, welcome to Georgia Living Podcast.
Oh my gosh. You're the worst. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Georgia Living. I'm Chris Evans.
I'm Céline Evans.
And we're glad to be with you. It's been quite the busy holiday season around the office and around the house. Let's see. Around the house, we've been doing, James and I worked on the go-kart a little bit. We got the motor mounts cut out. So now we got to get these wood blocks and like position the motor where it needs to be. And then we'll figure out the new motor mounts and get those made and welded up. So staying busy there. And we just completed like a week and a half of straight cleaning leading up to a gift swap party that we did at our house last week.
Well, those things you can't do all at once.
No.
You get too tired. And so I've been deep cleaning the house. I'm talking about, fry oil coming off of the stuff you don't notice that accumulates over the year.
Yeah, the deep clean. Everything was polished.
Yep.
Which was really nice because we had, we had 15 people over. We did a gift swap for Christmas and just had a great time.
I ended up with a emoji poop pen.
Yeah.
That farts.
I really wanted the gift that I brought, which was, it was a mat that goes in front of the toilet. And it's a putting green. And it comes with a little golf ball and putter. And Reed, who runs our commercial division, he ended up getting that one. But that gift was stolen twice. That was a lot of fun. So,
was there any gift that other than that you thought was really cool? I mean, they were all unique, so.
They were.
I think it was funny watching the kids.
The kids were really funny because they had some great stuff. James was super excited because he got this little cell phone charger and Bluetooth speaker. What did Scarlett walk away with? She got one of those drawing pads.
It seems like as soon as they got something, they hid it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But
yeah,
the poop pen that you ended up with, that was pretty funny too. Because every time you touch the top, it makes a farting noise. But
right.
Here I am. So one thing that was interesting about it is because I do the rules a little bit differently in our gift swap. So we always called it a Yankee Swap growing up. Go figure, from Massachusetts. But with the white elephant swap, every time I've done one of those, it's like everybody gets a gift, first person opens it, and then the second person gets the gift, but they don't open it. They get to choose to swap or to open their gift and keep their gift.
Okay.
With a Yankee swap, it gets a little bit more competitive, which can be fun if you have the right people. Because you open the gift and then you choose whether you're going to swap it or not. So a lot of people they'll think, oh, I like that. And then you'll swap it for something else. And sometimes you'll swap to be funny. Sometimes you'll swap because you don't want it. And it just creates way more engagement with everybody that's there. So we had quite a few cheers and jeers when they were getting swapped. It was a lot of fun. But as far as the party went, the house and all the work that you did in it really made it not too daunting, aside from the cleaning. The cleaning was awful.
I did the most of the cleaning. What are you talking about?
Like I didn't do anything. I'm outside pressure washing and doing all sorts of stuff. Celine's scrubbing. But back to the house.
Yep.
The way that you've decorated the house is very much a Victorian style.
Modern
Victorian.
Yes, yeah. It is not the old stuffy, although I really love William Morris. It's not that kind.
And you've always told me that you want to decorate the house, not accessorize the house. So what do you mean by that?
I mean, so there's some people who put color in the house itself. And then other people who buy stuff that are colorful, things that are colorful, and then put that up on a plain wall. Mm-hmm. I do it the opposite way. I make the walls colorful so that you don't have to put up as much stuff, right? Because the less stuff, the more clean it feels. The one thing that I struggled with was respect the negative space, right? Meaning you don't have to cover everything with everything. Respect the wall that wants to be naked. Let it be naked because it's serving a purpose to break up that junk. I am sounding like that Japanese "Does it spark joy" lady.
Oh, yeah.
Maria Kondo.
It's been years since she was that whole trend swept the nation.
I know, it really
throw away
did.
all your stuff.
It did. And you know what? So just coming back from Japan, there's not one storage place like we have here.
Okay.
They don't have stuff. We have so much stuff here, y'all. Like, you don't need that extra table that you've been hanging on to. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, Well,
I think one thing that you've really done well in the house is that you've kind of mix and match furniture, right? You haven't gone out and just bought like one all matching set. So each individual piece brings its own character into the house, and you've picked out pieces that match together and they look like it's cohesive. But it's not like you go to Ashley Furniture and, okay, give me all the end tables, give me the matching set. I want the ottoman, I want everything to match.
Right. No, I start with a color palette, and I wonder if I'm going to find it right now. Hold on.
All right.
I'm going to get it.
So while she's looking for this, Céline, before she decided to decorate the house, she went on to Poshmark. And when she was on, or not Poshmark, you went on to Etsy and hired a professional interior designer to put a color palette together for her.
Actually, it was pre-made.
Was it pre-made?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So you just went and bought the color codes and you found the palette that you liked?
Yeah, no. So for those of you watching, they provided a color group. So this is what I'm talking about. And that's exactly what we worked off of. It's a whole collection of colors that I wouldn't have thought of myself, but it really puts kind of a theme together. Mm-hmm. So there's all different colors like blue, yellow, greens, purples, pinks, grays, and whites. And so I stuck to these colors, and doing that I think really has helped because you have to touch up your paint, right?
All the time.
All the time, especially
with kids and dog.
And the dog that loves the vent. I mean, it's constant upkeep. And to have a color palette like this and touch up little mason jars, it makes it so much easier to just go around right before something, happens, like a party, and then just dab a little bit of paint on, and then it looks really put together.
Let me see this.
Yep.
All right. So what you did is you went to Sherwin and got the color codes, like the little sheets that they have.
The paint chips.
Yep. And then you cut it down, and on the back of each one of these, you have the color code.
Most of them.
And you keep this you've laminated all 9 of these together, and you keep this in your wallet. And I've seen people in stores just amazed that you do this, because you carry this with you so that if you're looking for something for the house, mm-hmm. you can look at it right there and see if it fits.
Right. I mean, is it the right shade of green? Is it, it doesn't have to be exactly that, but does it match with that shade? One application that I used, we were in the newspaper lately with my dad mm-hmm. and his Quilt of Valor, and we wanted to get that article framed. So I went to our local frame. If you can look their information up in East Cobb.
Yeah.
They did a wonderful job, and support local shops. It's right by Lidl. But we were debating on what matting to use and what would match my house. And they have to take guesses. Sometimes you may have photos. You might be limited, but I said, I'll do you one better. And I pulled out my little card here and I said, these are the exact colors of my walls and all of the paint that I use. Does it match this? So we put it right up against the matting, and sure, as heck, it matched and it looked really good. And I didn't have to worry about spending, that kind of money for custom framing and then putting it in my house.
And having it match.
And
having
I
it not
knew
match.
it was going to match,
Yeah.
right? So it really put a lot of planning efforts that went into this. It put a lot of my stress at ease. I mean, it might seem trivial thinking about a matting, but when you're getting something that's meaningful to you and custom matted, you want to make sure it matches, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to put it up and then a year later being like, it still doesn't go. It still doesn't match.
The store that you used was Frameworks Gallery. They're at 1205 Johnson Ferry Road. And they did a great job.
Yeah.
When we received received it back, everything was perfectly matted. And then they folded up and kept the original in the back of the frame and put it in a little pocket there, so it's always together. Mm-hmm. And we put that up next to the Victorian fireplace in the kitchen. So
we have an 1890s fireplace that we got from the mayor of Lilburn.
it was our rescue, because originally it came from an 1890s house here in Marietta. Mm-hmm. When that house underwent substantial renovations, the whole fireplace frame, mantle included, was sold, bought by the mayor of Lilburn for his house. And then when he was doing a renovation, we bought it and brought it back to Marietta.
Yep.
So lots of work for old stuff. And now we have to fill out a lead-based paint exhibit anytime we go to sell the house. But we're not planning on selling anytime soon.
No, not at all. We are in East Cobb for a long time.
Yes, we are. But fun fact, if you do have any antique stuff in your house that is now a fixture and it was created before 1978, you now have to fill out a lead-based paint disclosure when you go to sell your house.
So I got to say one last thing about decorating, whatever your style is that try to go beyond just what is available. Research, right? If you're researching a Victorian style, think about what plants they used in the houses. What was popular. It's actually not what's in store right now. So a lot of the plants that they used were coal fireplace resistant.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because all that soot and everything, that's why everything was darker colored. So even the little details like that, we made sure to get the right plants and everything, so everything feels cohesive without you thinking about it in that time period.
What was it, the kind of plant that you bought for the landing?
It's a cast iron plant, and it's self-watering because I got a unique type of pot for it, so I can actually go on vacation for a month and still come back to a plant that's alive.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably thirsty, but, it's alive. And that's one of the plants that they used. And you'll see a lot of people standing right next to these plants in portraits, too. Yeah, ferns, stuff like that.
Fascinating. Well, we're always learning a lot. One of the things with the Victorian style that you've done is do smaller pieces of furniture, which when it comes to entertaining makes doing it so easy, because you pick up the pieces and you move them up against the wall. You then maximize the space for people to mingle. And
I don't think that's Victorian, though. So This all started when I we would go and tour older homes, bigger locations like reproduction of Mount Vernon, George Washington's Mount Vernon, or any of the colonial homes that you could see, and they all had smaller pieces of furniture. They didn't have sectionals that were so heavy that you needed 4 people to carry. I mean, we've had some sectionals from Pottery Barn, gorgeous pieces. But once we were done with that, because we've had, little children and little children.
And little children.
Yeah. I remember moving that, and it was just, we were breaking a sweat. We had to call the neighbor over to help us. It was not easy. But going to these older places, I realized that the furniture was small for a reason. And that's because they didn't have as many rooms as we do now. They didn't have McMansions, right? I mean, some people did, but most didn't. So just like Japan, you have to repurpose your rooms. So say, like in Japan, you're done sleeping. Then you fold up your bed, put it in the closet, and then that's your room for the day.
Yeah.
So colonial people did the same thing. They had movable furniture, and they would put it up against the wall to make room for that room if they needed it, right? Maybe not as much as Japanese people did, because that was the bedroom. But you get what I'm saying, right? They didn't have the giant pieces that weighed a ton and dented your floors and everything.
I think that, this advice is most practical for some of the older homes, right? If your home was built in the 90s, early 90s, 80s, or earlier, you're going to have standard room layouts that are much smaller than what they're putting into homes today.
Yeah, think about some of those starter homes that we know of that still exist from the 60s.
Some of them aren't even starter homes. You look in East Cobb, right in our district, you've got...
Well, I meant like when they were built, they were starter homes. Yeah.
These were like all of the, your 60s and 70s brick ranches, some of them on a basement. It's very square layout. Yeah. Everything's rectangular. But
you had enough room for your bed.
Your ceiling height was 8 foot. Which is standard, right? 9 foot, 10 foot ceilings. That's newer construction. They're building furniture for today's houses. So, if you have an older house with a smaller room, you have to find smaller furniture. Otherwise, you make that room feel just tiny and claustrophobic. So the furniture has to fit your room. And that, I think, is one of the things you've done very well in our house.
Well, thank you.
Because it is older. We do have 8 foot ceilings, even though there's quite a bit of space. I mean, it's almost a 2,800 square foot house. Finding the room to kind of congregate all together with furniture that'll fit everybody without making it feel crowded is a real challenge sometimes. And by going with the smaller furniture pieces, one, you can move them right up against the wall if you're entertaining, make it even bigger. But two, every day when you're going in your house, you don't feel claustrophobic. It's going to just make your daily living feel better.
And you'll have plenty of space for people to sit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a lot of local news happen around us. Switching segments a little bit here. And first off, the zoning down the street, right? So Oak Road, there was a proposed zoning for a church to do an expansion. And oh my goodness, was the response from the community anti that church expansion.
Well, we go by this every day on our way to work.
Yeah.
And Oak Road is where you go on Bill Murdoch, right? Bill Murdoch Road, and then you
Castile.
pass by Castile, and then you pass by Oak Road, and a church wanted to expand, and it seemed like overnight these signs kind of popped up saying "Say no to this variance."
Yeah.
Right? It was all down the street, and nobody really wanted this.
Yep. Oh, you know what? You're right. It's Bill Murdoch, but Bill Murdoch turns into Castile, so it's the same street.
Oh, okay.
And the proposed zoning was at the intersection where Bill Murdoch and Castile intersect with Oak, which is a very slow turn, right? It's a very sharp turn, and the Oak Road intersection kind of hits at the apex of that turn.
Right.
So the traffic in that area is not great. There's been a lot of accidents in that bend because kids will drive fast at night and
there's
lose
a bridge
control.
there.
There's a bridge there.
Yep.
All of the neighbors were opposed to it. You'd see signs saying no, no, no. East Cobb News reported that there was a petition that had over 500 signatures on it. And through the grapevine, I heard they withdrew the zoning request without prejudice. They just said, you know what, we see the feedback, we're not going to do it. I don't know if that's true or not. That's grapevine. But what I do know is that East Cobb News said that it was on the agenda for the December 10th zoning hearing. And looking at the minutes from that last agenda, it was not on the minutes. So looks like that is not going to happen. We'll let you know if we see any changes there.
What do you think the main reason was?
I think that area is very residential. You've got basically on one side of it, a large farm estate with cattle and chickens, and sometimes those chickens will be out in the road, pecking along the side.
Cute.
They're cute. But yeah, they're there.
Yeah.
All of it's very kind of rural suburban feel because of that. There's a lot of undeveloped area there. Typically, when we do zoning variances, it's highest and best use. Cobb County is doing the East Cobb Church right now, which just had a lot of variances. It's less than 2 miles away, and that's a huge development. They were building in more of a commercial area right along the intersection of Shallowford and Johnson Ferry. And this is not in that kind of area, right? You got a lot of neighbors. Think about when you do an expansion of a church, you have parking, you have lights that are going to be shining in the neighbors' yards all night.
Light pollution.
Yeah, I mean, it's things like that the area around it doesn't support. And if you look, there's like 4 other churches in a residential area, but it's closer to commercial. You've got the Chinese church at the intersection of Bill Murdoch and Sewell Mill. You have the church at the intersection of Old Canton and Sewell Mill. You have the synagogue at the intersection of Sewell Mill.
So really, it
and
just
Old
comes
Canton.
down to highest and best use.
That's it. I think it's highest and best use. I also think it's the impact that it's going to make, and that it is not conforming to what's there already. I think that land is more primed to go residential development and bring some more quality housing that can stay in line with the area around it, because there's not a lot of land left in East Cobb. That is going to be bought up. It is going to be developed. They're not going to lose out on any money, but I don't think that putting a large commercial and parking entity is something that matches the overall feel of the area.
Sure.
All right. Let's see. Next.
Okay, I don't know this story.
You don't know this one.
But you started telling me, and I said, stop. Just tell me right now, what is this? Because this is our post office.
So, Cobb County Police have issued a warrant for Isis Hinson, who's 26, of Ackworth, an employee of the East Cobb Post Office.
Wait, ISIS.
ISIS.
26.
Isis Hinson, 26, of Ackworth.
That was what, 1999? Whew.
Boy, they...
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, well...
Okay, so continue on.
So, he was accused of stealing greeting cards from the East Cobb Drive post office behind Trader Joe's. Now, this is where we go all the time because it's...
We were there yesterday.
I could throw a rock from my office and hit it, basically.
We were there yesterday.
So, according to investigators, she was opening cards between October 2nd and December 11th to take cash and gift cards. A letter carrier first reported suspiciously opened cards in late October.
A letter carrier?
Yeah, so somebody who was delivering. They're like, these cards are opened.
Like, that's weird.
So here's where it gets better. The United States Postal Office has their own investigators.
Okay.
And these investigators confronted the employee, who resigned and surrendered additional mail. They had more. So, just as a reminder during the holidays, you want to avoid sending cash through the mail. If you believe you may have been a victim of mail theft, call the USPS OIG complaint line at 888-877-7644.
Holy moly.
Right in our backyard.
But the thing is that the people who do work there, John and, what's her name? She's a sweetheart and she has the cutest nails. They are really great people. So I've never met this ISIS person before. Maybe I have. Maybe I saw them once, but...
Well, this seems like it's something that more of a mail sorter would have access to.
Yeah.
Like not the folks that are working the counter. So this is probably somebody in the back.
No. The people who have been there for a long time are wonderful people, and I can't say enough great things about them because they're manning the desk, and sometimes it's just them or maybe just one other person, and they get the stuff done. So
sometimes
thank you.
There's a bad apple.
Thank you, but wow, that is definitely news to me, especially because this is our post office.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Well, I'll continue to go there because it looks like the investigators got it.
Yes.
Our local delivery people were instrumental in that, so lots of integrity there. We found the bad apple.
Well, let me tell you about water main breaks then.
All right. What's happening?
There are multiple water main breaks. Surprise, surprise, right? Sunday night and throughout Monday because we had freezing temperatures. Y'all, drip your pipes. You know how many horror stories there are about everyone? And like, it seems like everyone has to get got once.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're just completely against it.
If you've been through it, you don't want to do it again. I mean, these are the water mains, so you can't really do too much about that. These are the ones that are servicing for the city. But I think it's just great that we know that this is going on. It's a reminder that we all need to be vigilant. If you're for your exterior hose bibs, you want to make sure that the cutoff to that is inside your house. You turn it off, then you go outside, you open up the hose faucet and make sure that it all drains out and it's not actively running. Then you can leave it open and put I don't know how much they are now. They used to be like $1.99. The little styrofoam insulated hose bib covers. You can get them at Home Depot.
You can even put cloth on there for like temporary.
You could.
I mean, you really could. But so the Department of Watershed Management made repairs throughout the day, restoring water service to impacted areas. And here's one thing to think about. I know that water mains really won't affect you as much as a leak inside your house, but think about it. If your water main breaks, that's the only way outside of your neighborhood, and it's freezing temperatures at night. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, we're going to get some ice.
Yeah. So beware of that. These things can happen, but it's also very slim to none. So.
Yeah, it's rare, but it does happen. Mm-hmm. Now, if you are a victim of a water main break, you'll typically get a notice, and when the service comes back, it is important that you clear out your plumbing lines in the house. Because as they fix a water main, sometimes they will get dirt and sediment into the line. So if you...
This story.
Yes. I had just redone our bathroom, our powder room, and then we had a water main break. The county fixed it. And me not knowing any better, water's on. I go to the brand new faucet. I turn it on. And all the sediment completely clogged up the faucet and ruined it. So I had to get a new faucet. That was fun. So I then learned and I contacted, a couple plumbers, and they taught me. So what you do is you go to the lowest point in your house. Okay, you don't go to your upstairs, you go to your basement. Closest to the water main as it's coming in. Go to a faucet that does not have a filter on it and just let it run. For me, that's a utility sink in my basement. And I'll turn the utility sink on and I will let that run until all color is gone. Right? I don't want any
Georgia red clay.
Georgia red clay. Exactly. I want the water to run clean. Then I can go up to the upper levels because the water is gravity fed. So if you if you go to the upstairs of your house and turn on the highest height faucet, that's going to send sediment all into your plumbing system throughout the whole house. So you want to be as close to your main as possible when you do it. While you're at it, don't forget that you should be draining your water heater every year for sediment as well. We've got tips on selectrealty.com on how to do that. You can just go and search through our news or search through the blog and you'll find that information. Ugh. I hate dealing with water in the winter. It's so bad.
All right. So next up is the peach drop. Now I've been, right?
Yeah, I have been to the peach drop once. I was a kid.
The last time I went, we were right under the peach, and that's not a good place to be. It was fireworks sediment all over your head, and everyone got dirty, and we went straight into the shower after that. But so there's going to be countdown over ATL. It is Atlanta's peach drop reimagined. Mayor Andre Dickens announced that the traditional peach drop will not take place this New Year's Eve. I don't know how I feel about that. Instead, the city is launching Countdown Over ATL, a new celebration featuring fireworks display visible across Atlanta. A drone-generated digital peach will appear above downtown and midtown, offering a modern twist on this tradition. The city hopes to decentralize the celebration and reduce crowding to improve safety. Okay, well, here's a history of the peach drop itself. So it began in 1989, and it pulled back in 2019-2021. Now, remember, we had COVID then, and that was not a good period in history. It returned again in 2022, had a few pauses, and then it returned again in 2025. Now they're doing the drone thing. So it's kind of been sputtering since 89.
Yeah, since 19 and 21, right? Because then they did a year or two at like Underground Atlanta. And I really didn't pay attention to it in those years, if I'm being honest, because it's not the peach drop. But we've been to one of those drone displays before where they do the drone show, and that's really cool.
It is. And, I can see the decentralization, but also think about it. The drone is directional, right?
Yeah.
If you're at the back of it, you might see it in reverse, but if you're on the side, you're going to see the side. It's 3D.
Well, they can do 3D drones. They can have like drones going all around.
Oh, okay. Well, it is beautiful. I do agree, and probably better for our environment because it doesn't have, smoke going off and everything like that. But there is something to be said about a giant peach that looks like a butt that drops every year.
There's a lot to be said. A lot of funny conversations around that peach.
I mean, it looks like a butt that's dropping. What's funnier than that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think of appropriate things here.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's, it was always a joke, and maybe there's going to be a butt dropping drone style.
Who knows? We'll see. I think it's definitely something to watch. It's a first for Atlanta, so we'll be paying attention to it. Probably won't see it because usually we go up to LJ and we'll watch the fireworks going off down in the valley from the top of the mountain.
Yes.
And just, that's how we like to ring in the new year. But we'll be watching this.
Yeah.
So definitely.
If you can give a real estate market update, because we have had a very interesting winter.
Yeah.
We had a surprise rate cut all of a sudden. Nobody was expecting this. Well, some people might have, but the majority did not. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, so rates were on a downward trend through October and November. We got rate cuts in both months. But in November, the Fed Chairman Jerome Powell had comments that set the market back. They put him a little bit more conservative. He was saying, we don't know if there's going to be a rate cut in December. Well, turns out there was a rate cut in December. When that happened, we saw movement in the rates again. So right now, Housing Wire has mortgage rates at about 6.3.
But the reason why we didn't see it before when the rates dropped were what?
Oh, because the market was expecting the cut. So mortgage investors, if they're expecting a rate cut, they will reduce their rates in advance. And then they will, adjust them when the cut happens. So when the cut didn't happen, rates actually went up slightly. They went up slightly during the November rate cut because of the comments that they didn't expect it to go down in December. So when it went down in December, rates took that and adjusted lower accordingly. Right now, Housing Wire is showing that the quoted rate is like 6.3 for a conventional. Our local lender with a 1-point buy down, top tier credit, the other day was saying they can go as low as 5.75 on conventional, 5 1/8 on FHA. So both of these assume a 1-point buy down. Here, benefits of working with a smaller lender is sometimes they'll include that point for you. Our lender does, so that they use their commissions to buy down that interest rate.
And so I was watching Bloomberg with you this morning, and they were talking about the Fed and their decisions and how they're expecting 2 next year in 2026. That's the speculation.
That would help.
1 in December and then 1 maybe in the middle of the year. But they were also starting to talk about things that we haven't heard in a long time, such as the neutral rate. What is the neutral rate for the banks, right? And so what they were discussing was the Fed doesn't have a consensus just yet. There are a lot of people who are kind of all over the place, and they're trying to figure out whether the neutral rate should be lower or it should be higher, or it should be, because before inflation was at 2%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're trying to figure out, is that sustainable? Is it not? So there's a lot of discussion going on and a lot of things that who knows what's going to happen.
So a neutral rate is a theoretical interest rate that
Right.
it doesn't boost or slow the economy.
Mm-hmm.
What it does is it allows the economy to grow at its full potential without artificial boosting, with stable inflation and full employment. And I think Bloomberg was mentioning that our employment rate right now is at the highest that it's been, except for like one other point in history. It's like this is the second highest employment.
Something like in 75 years or something like that. Yeah.
Which basically is saying our unemployment is the lowest. So people have jobs. The people who need jobs are able to get them in many cases. And figuring out this neutral rate is kind of like, it's the Fed target rate, basically, is where the Fed thinks that...
It's theoretical.
Yeah, it's theoretical, right? The Fed is targeting a 2% inflation rate. And they've got to figure out what their rate is to keep the economy going, but keep that inflation right around 2.5%.
If that's what they want to keep it at.
Yeah. This is why everything moves like a clock pendulum, because you never figure it out the first time. You overestimate, and then you correct, and then you overestimate, and then you correct, and then you find yourself somewhere in the middle. But it's a process, and it takes time. So when we went into the inflationary period, everything was like soaring. So the Fed was increasing rates as a backstop. They were using that as the braking system for the economy. Now that the braking system has worked, we've slowed down, inflation is lower. Now we've got to find that balance.
The cruising speed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like how you put that. So as they figure that out, and as we get closer to that, what we're going to see is consumer confidence increasing. I think the last consumer confidence survey came out, and it was showing that consumer confidence is higher than expected. So your average consumer is spending like they think the economy is going to continue to operate on its current trajectory. So that's good news for us. With the rates coming lower, it's making housing more affordable. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's going to be more opportunity for buyers in 2026. A lot of the articles right now, if you read about real estate, are saying that inventory is at its lowest in multi-years. Take that with a grain of salt always as we approach the holidays, because you're always going to hear about inventory getting lower in December. No one wants to show their house while it's all decorated and they have family visiting. So
right.
We've had like 4 or 5 listings that have come off in the last month or two.
With the expectation of relisting.
They're all coming back.
After the holidays.
Yeah. They're all coming back. These people want to move. They just don't want to do it right now. They're going to enjoy their life. And we'll bring it back in the early 2026 or the early spring.
But also with these rates, it's so important to know that it's not about the number or anything like that. It's about what is comfortable for you monthly in paying. Does it fit your budget? Mm-hmm. Does it fit your needs? Do you have that, extra bedroom that you absolutely have to have for an in-law coming to live with you, or another child, or I don't know, divorce, whatever your situation is? Are you comfortable financially with that payment? Does this house work for you?
Exactly.
And that's really what matters right now. I mean, there's a lot of variables and a lot of scary, naysayers out there, but at the same time, there's a lot of good out there too. So
there's a ton of good.
Yeah.
And real estate does so much good. It is the easiest path to generate wealth in America, hands down. And America is the easiest place to generate wealth in the world. So vis-a-vis, I'm saying that real estate is the easiest way to generate wealth in the world, period. If you own it, they're not making any more of it. The value is always going to go up as the value of costs and goods and services goes up. Land is where it's at, y'all. So if you're renting...
Well, not just parcels, though.
No. Well,
No, that's not what we're saying.
no. But owning a real asset. So, growing up, I was very much blue-collar family. Mom and dad were hard workers. They always told me to read a lot, so I read and I read and I read. And what I found is from things like The Millionaire Next Door, which is timeless, is you live on your means, you save, and you set aside. It's harder to do today than it was when we were first starting out because everything is a subscription model now, so you really have to be diligent. You have to choose your lifestyle to avoid spending a lot of the unnecessary things. But when you get there, you're able to have money left over and to build up that nest egg. You use that nest egg to invest. Don't just sit it in the mattress. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, it's a great time for a plug.
Oh.
This is a great time for a plug.
We wrote a book.
And so after reading all these books,
Ta-da!
we ended up writing our own.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, there you go. Which is called From the Ground Up. So it's what we did. It was a very easy path to acquire multiple properties with adding to the overall housing supply in the area and making sure that we're able to support the local areas where we own homes. But also, we lived in most of them. we bought, we lived, we just kept it behind us. We opened up the supply that was needed by people who wanted to rent.
I mean, this is chock full of information, like graphs and all these things. It goes from basic ideas to more complex.
How to do a 1031.
Right. Things like that, that are intermediaries and a little bit more steps, but it goes from our very first property right here. Little picture. We do not have that anymore. We 1031'd it. To
that's what bought us the duplex in Alaska.
Yeah, so it really is, nothing hidden here. It's exactly what we did, and there you go.
Exactly. So that's available on Amazon if you want it.
And Audible.
Yep, that's right. And he did such a great job on that. So what this means for buyers and sellers, we're starting to see the early signs of improved affordability. If you've been on the sidelines, and odds are you have, because the average age of our first-time home buyer now is 40. That's like 15 years of equity just missed. The key to generating wealth, y'all, is time. If you don't have time, interest can't compound, and you don't generate the wealth.
You can't buy time.
You can't buy time.
In a sense.
My investment strategy is buying time.
Yeah.
Every time the market dips and I can buy it for last year's price or the year before that's price, I want to do that.
If you put it that way, yes, you can buy time technically, but you can't buy time. You know?
You can't reverse that clock. So that's why there's a saying in real estate: the best time to buy real estate was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. The hard part is getting everything in line to make that happen and doing so in a way that's still convenient to your job. Guess what? Sometimes people moved or changed jobs to move where they can afford to buy a house. It's funny how that used to happen. Like we moved from Massachusetts. We moved from Massachusetts to Georgia because of the financial incentive of the Hope Scholarship.
Okay.
Right? And when we moved to Georgia, we bought a house where we could afford. That's all it was. Was it the best area? No.
Depends.
Was it a bad area? No. But in my opinion. But was my life impacted? No. Like, I grew up just fine. We had a pool. I rode my dirt bike around everywhere. Like, it was fun. And you can still do that. It's possible. You just have to structure your life. And sometimes that means you make hard decisions that, it pays out in the long run.
Yeah. So the one thing that I learned was that when you're young, you don't understand how much a mortgage payment eats up.
Yeah.
Of how much you're earning and how much ancillary bills come with that.
The maintenance.
And the maintenance,
utilities.
the utilities that you have to pay, all these things, the insurance that's, escrowed into your payment. So you have to figure this out. When you are first looking for your first house, it seems like you have so many expectations because all around you see these giant homes and they're apartments, but you're done with apartment living. You want to look for your first home. You think that you can afford something grand, like double this is from personal experience.
Yeah.
And, we ended up with a townhome. There's nothing wrong with that. But the reason why we're saying 40 years, is because for the first-time home buyer, is because, how when you start a job, you kind of pay your dues. You start at the basic job and then you work your way up, usually. That's kind of the thought behind it.
Yeah.
You kind of have to do that with homes, too, right? That's why there's something called a starter home. But the wrench in all of this is that they're not building the starter homes, at least not in our area. So the starter homes are starting to be built further and further away. So you might have to change your expectations of where exactly you're going to end up in your first. You might have to go through 2 or 3 homes to get to exactly where you want to be. That is common, you guys. Don't feel like because you have to be a certain place for 2 or 3 years that's the end of it. That's all you can afford. No, that's not true. Get on that train of home ownership first. Ride it, and then see what station you're at that time to where maybe you can get on a better line, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest be humble moments that I had when I was younger,
It is humbling.
Yeah.
When real estate historically, like through 60s, 70s, 80s, is you buy the starter house that you can afford. The less expensive homes are generally not in the area where you want to be because it's not popping there, right?
Right.
You're not going to get a starter home walkable to downtown Roswell or Marietta Square because the land value is much higher in those areas because of the demand and the population, because everybody wants to be there. You got to go further out. But what ends up happening, and one of the reasons we bought so young, because you were, 22? When we closed, and after reading all these books on investing, studying finance, I said to myself, look, we're going to have to pay all these bills anyway. We're going to have to cover the cost of maintenance. We're going to have to cover the utilities. We're going to have to cover, the cost of the house.
It comes with the house.
But I don't want to pay the landlord, right? They're making money and they're building equity. I don't want to pay for somebody else's retirement. I want to pay for mine. So we bought the cheapest house we could afford. $110,000 was our first house.
It was very well put together, though. It was comfortable.
It was an apartment conversion. So the whole community had just been gone through by a developer. They were apartments. They were converted from an apartment style complex to townhomes and sold individually, fee simple. We bought one. And then just to explain like how bills go up, when we bought it, our HOA fee, which basically just covered trash and common area, was $50 a month. Then that went up to $100, Then it went up to 150.
But for good reason, because it was a private road, because I was on the board. It was a private road. Nobody had any money saved up to refinish that when it came due.
Mm-hmm.
We looked at the lifespan of the road and we said, oh no.
So you did what had to be done.
Had to be done.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's going to be, the more you add on, right, the more expensive it is. A retaining wall was causing a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And although it wasn't our retaining wall, it was on the other side of the street, it was still part of the community and affected all of the ones downstream of that retaining wall.
So the increases were necessary. They didn't increase it for, just to go off on some project bender and make improvements that it didn't benefit everybody. But the point here is that when you buy a house, you need to anticipate your expenses will go up, because they will. Your escrow payments will go up as your property value increases.
If you're
taxes, your insurance.
You're not as impacted, though, if you buy it outright.
Correct.
So, I mean, yes, you do have increases still even in that. But so in the United States, we don't have adjustable rate mortgage. I know this is a completely different
But we
topic.
used to.
We used to.
99 and change % right now is all on a fixed rate.
Yeah. So I think Australia, New Zealand, they have more adjustable rate mortgages. They're affected by the market a lot more than we are.
Yeah.
We have fixed rate for the most part. And so that's why we're only talking about these other things, not the mortgage increasing. I probably should throw that out.
And there are still adjustable rate mortgages here, and they did become more popular over the last 3 years as we watch interest rates increase and increase. And they'll do like a 7-1 arm where you get a lower interest rate, and then by year 7 it hits the highest it can be, but then you've got a balloon payment and you have to refinance it. If you're going through something like that, it really only makes sense when you anticipate that rates are going to go down or that values are going to continue to increase. But either way, there's risk involved in that because it's speculation. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. And there is a possibility that, something could happen and it causes interest rates to go up tomorrow. And in that case, your payment goes up. Well, not tomorrow. They reset, on a time basis. But so they're not resetting every month. But you need to just pay attention to this stuff and factor it into your planning. Factor it into, where you want to be. This is why living under your means is so important. If you've got a car payment, sell it. Buy a car cash. Just get an old Toyota or a Honda and drive it until it's dead, because that money is going to benefit you more in the long run going into equity and housing than it will into auto repairs and debt to an auto company for your auto loan.
Yeah.
So just be smart with your debt. Use it for appreciating assets, not depreciating ones. And hopefully, if you have any questions, we're always here. That's kind of our wheelhouse. We're happy to have a discussion and answer any questions about real estate that you have, whether it's in residential or commercial. And if you want more information on it, you can always find us. Our residential full-service brokerage is Select Realty with 2 L's, SELLECT, realty.com. Simply List is here to help you if you're a little bit more savvy of a homeowner or investor. We've got a way that you can sell your house and save thousands of dollars in the process by doing a little bit of legwork yourself. Or if you're in commercial, we have TOA Commercial, which is toacommercial.com. We serve basically all the U.S. We can do deals anywhere there. So if you need anything, we're here. We're happy to help. That's why we do this.
So my website is simplylistatlanta.com.
Heck yeah. And she's awesome. Like, Celine's amazing. Clients love her. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, share. If you're on YouTube watching us and you saw the color palette, make sure you hit that little bell so that you always get notified when we drop a new episode. And thanks for watching us. We've taken over your YouTube account for the day. Make sure you subscribe. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We are Georgia Living, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Have a warm, safe, and meaningful holiday.
Absolutely. We'll see you.
Bye.